Imagine this. You finally save your down payment, you get pre-approved, and find a place that feels close enough to make the numbers work. And you think the hard part's over. But then the real questions start. Can you actually afford the full cost of owning it? Is the building well run? Is the layout going to hurt your resale? Did you fall for the staging instead of the fundamentals? Did you choose the lowest rate without understanding the risk? In Vancouver, those are the mistakes that quietly cost first-time home buyers the most. So in this video, we're going to go through this article, these 6 common buyer mistakes and exactly how to avoid them so you can make a smart first purchase that you can actually afford, live with, grow from, and then profit when you actually decide to sell. And be sure to stay till number 6. This one could save you tens of thousands of dollars. I see this mistake all the time. It's a really good one. All right, let's get straight into it. So here we are looking at this article, 6 common home buyer mistakes and how you can avoid them. So number 1, buying more house than you can actually afford. Number 1, buying more house than you can actually afford. This is the first mistake in the article, and honestly, it might be the most dangerous one in Vancouver. A lot of first-time home buyers look at the maximum amount a lender will approve and assume that that's their budget. It's not. It's the lender's ceiling, not your comfort zone. And it says here, you need to consider what you can afford to pay for your home. You have to prepare a budget. So yes, your home cost is much bigger than just your mortgage payment or the sticker price. You need to factor in property taxes, strata fees. If you're buying a condo, or a townhome, there's insurance, utilities, repairs, moving costs, legal fees, closing costs. I can go on and on and on. You need to look at a monthly budget. And this is where a lot of buyers get caught because they'll see the sticker price, see that it makes sense, it fits within their budget that their mortgage broker told them, but they don't look at the monthlies. A home should make your life more stable, not more fragile. So how can you avoid this? Start by building your budget backwards. Instead of asking what's the most I can borrow, ask what's the monthly payment that still lets me live like a normal person. And then slowly start to add everything else on top of that. The big ones that I already mentioned are property tax, strata fees, insurance, utilities, maintenance, and then a small savings for surprises, maybe a special levy, maybe your oven breaks, that kind of stuff. Especially in Vancouver where the cost of living is quite high. So you want to make sure you're buying a home that leaves you with some breathing room. All right, let's get straight into number 2. So number 2 is limiting your search and your searcher. So what does this mean? This matters a lot in Vancouver because inventory is not evenly useful. Just because a property is available doesn't mean that it's a good option. And many first-time homebuyers think that searching for homes means just scrolling through listings, going to an open house, and then waiting for the right place to show up online. And if this sounds like you, then you're in for a surprise. It's only part of the job. A good home search is bigger than just looking at listings. It includes building quality, strata history, future development around the property, looking at your commute patterns, school catchments, rental rules, what is parking like, whether the area is even good for your day-to-day life. And that's only half of it. The second half is your searcher, as they refer to in this article. It's your real estate agent. In Vancouver, the right agent matters because different product types come with different risks. And if you're working with a realtor that doesn't understand the risks or is not familiar with the process or the property, that's bad news. For example, buying a condo downtown is not the same as buying a 100-year-old property in East Vancouver. Or even when it comes to area, buying a high-rise in Burnaby is not the same as buying a townhome in Abbotsford. Buying pre-sale is not the same as buying resale. So you don't want an agent who just does real estate in general. You want to work with somebody that understands your lane. Someone that understands your price range, your goals, your timeline, what kind of home you're trying to buy, the life that you live day to day. Most importantly, the bottom line is somebody that helps you avoid bad homes and not just find ones that excite you. So how to avoid this? As it says here, you want to be sure to engage the right real estate agent for you. So what does this mean? You need to ask the right questions. Ask how often they work with first-time homebuyers. Ask what kind of homes they know best. Ask their process for working through due diligence, how they review stratas, pricing, resale. Who you end up working with through your home buying process is key because there are so many moving parts. Having someone that you can trust and is very knowledgeable can make the whole process more fun instead of more stressful. All right, let's see here. Number 3, not thinking about your future home. So this third point is pretty easy to miss. It's one of the smartest ideas, I think, in this whole article that I read. Don't just buy for your day-to-day. You got to be sure to have your future exit in mind, because typically if you're a first-time home buyer, this home is just a stepping stone. It's not your forever home. And for many buyers, it is a stepping stone. So what that means is resale matters from day one. And in Vancouver, you should be asking questions like this. Will this place still appeal to buyers in a few years? Is the layout practical? Layouts can kill deals constantly. Is there natural light? Is the building well run? Is there good parking? Good management on the strata? They're keeping their costs in line. Is this the kind of home that someone would still want later? For example, I have a listing. It is a beautiful 3-bedroom home, but there's only 1 bathroom. Once you get into something that's 3 bedrooms, you're potentially looking at starting a family. You don't want to raise kids in just 1 bathroom. That is rough. So you might have a hard time selling that in a slower market down the road. So this is where first-time buyers sometimes miss the ball. You just buy the cheapest one. Maybe it's on a busy road, but the price is discounted and it makes sense. So you get into it. It's in the neighborhood you want. But that road noise is going to be brutal if you're trying to sell in a slower market. Maybe the building is cheap because there's no elevators or there's shared laundry, for example. Key question to ask yourself on this one is, if I had to sell this in 3 to 5 years, who would want it and why? This one question can save you from buying a home that feels emotional today, but becomes a financial headache down the road. Key thing I tell first-time home buyers is you want to appeal to other first-time home buyers when you sell, and also investors. So target city centers, close to SkyTrain, close to good amenities. Make sure there is shopping walking distance. Make sure someone can easily do their groceries and shopping if they don't have a car. And then consider things like layout. Is the bathroom connected to your bedroom? Or do you have to walk all the way through your living room and kitchen just to get to a bathroom? Just want to make sure it appeals to everyone down the road. All right, jumping into number 4. You can almost see number 5 there, but no spoilers. So you hold out for your dream home, complete with decor. What the article is saying is that people fall in love with the staging instead of the home itself. Walk into a beautifully lit condo, trendy furniture, is super clean, you have shelves, you know, off throwaways, maybe there's some wainscoting on the walls, warm colors, and then suddenly it just feels like the one because it's homey and it looks beautiful. But the furniture in the home is not your investment. The layout is, the building is, the strata is, the location is. These are the things that actually are important when you're buying your first home. And the article says, waiting to find a home that checks every single box. And that's especially true in Metro Vancouver, because getting everything you want at once usually means one of 2 things. Either you pay more than you should, or you wait so long that you miss good opportunities and then chase the perfect ones which don't pan out. And then you end up settling for something else. There's also a psychological trap here too. When you're looking at staged home, the decor doesn't come with the home. So buyers are imagining they're buying the lifestyle that the staging suggests, but once the furniture is gone, you're left with the actual bones of the home and then the life that you're already living. Is the kitchen still functional? Is the bedroom actually big enough for your stuff, your dresser, not the one that was in there? If you have a queen size bed, will that fit instead of the small bed that was in the room to make it look even bigger? So focus on the things. So what I tell buyers I work with is focus on the things you can't change, because you could change paint, you can change lighting, you can change furniture. You can't change layout or ceiling height or building quality or a bad strata management. So you really want to try to get 80% of the way there. A good, smart first purchase, a workable home with decent bones, and room to improve over time. That extra 20% is where you can add your own personal touches. And that's what truly makes it a home. All right, number 5. Oh, don't look at number 6. That's a spoiler. All right, there we go. All right, number 5. You don't take the time to fully investigate or do your due diligence. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because it is obvious. It should be obvious to most people. If you're working with a good realtor, they will do the due diligence with you and for you. But if you don't, this is where mistakes become really, really expensive. Buying a home is extremely emotional, especially your first one. This is potentially the biggest purchase you would have ever made in your entire life by 10x easily. So in a competitive market as well, emotion makes people rush past the boring stuff. And the boring stuff is where the risk actually lives. So this article talks about getting an inspection, seeing the property more than once, checking comparable sales, pay attention to the neighborhood and not just the home. And this all applies to Vancouver. If you're buying a detached home, investigation and inspections become more necessary because there's roof, drainage, plumbing, electrical, foundations, windows, all the mechanical systems in the home, and you're the only one responsible for that. In a condo or a townhome, that's where mistakes are made for first-time homebuyers that are typically getting into that kind of product. Yes, you don't need to worry about the roof, doing it yourself, but it is something that still needs to be done eventually. So the big mistake here is that first-time homebuyers are focusing on the unit itself and not enough time on the actual property, the building, the strata. And that's where the real due diligence comes into play. We are reviewing all the documents in the finances. That includes meeting minutes, financial statements, bylaws, rules, depreciation reports, engineering reports. We're looking at signs of deferred maintenance. So things that the strata should be looking after that they're just not doing. Water ingress is a big one that we need to look out for. And then paying attention to very expensive upcoming repairs, which include balconies, elevators, repiping, re-roofing, or low or cladding issues, anything that prevents the water from getting inside the building. And in Vancouver, we have a wide variety of housing stock. So it is important to treat every potential purchase as an individual case-by-case basis. So make sure you do your due diligence. That's number one. But the second part that the article mentions here is looking at comparable sales. You don't want to overpay for the home. And the best way to know the approximate market value, objective market value, is by looking at the sales that happened recently nearby. And the best way to objectively analyze the price of a home is by looking at recent sales that happened nearby. Even better if they happen in the building itself. Even better if it is the same layout and same exact unit, just maybe on a different floor, or if it's a townhome, it's the same unit just in a different part of the complex. These are some of your best comparables. And a good realtor will work with you when it comes to your due diligence and also analyzing price. So make sure you pick a good realtor. I think that was item number 1 or 2 on the list. Number 2. So important. Make sure when you're interviewing realtors to sit down and do a full buyer consultation, and then you can really decide and see who's a professional, what services they offer, what their expertise is, etc., etc. So last one, and this is the big one, number 6, making too small a down payment at too low an interest rate. So this is really important, and rates are changing a lot in this world. It depends when you watch this video, but the core idea still holds. Don't focus only on getting in with the absolute smallest upfront cost if that leaves you too exposed later on. And a lot of buyers think the win is simply getting through the front door with minimum possible down payment and the lowest headline mortgage rate. But the smallest legal down payment is not automatically the smartest financial choice. And one reason why you'd want to go with a smaller down payment is you have an insured mortgage. It's a more competitive rate. You can get in earlier, but there are some downsides. With a smaller down payment, you have a much bigger mortgage, higher monthly payments, in addition to CMHC mortgage insurance, and then less cushion if life gets expensive or the market softens or you aren't making as much money or your cost of living goes up or there's so many different things that could happen. In Vancouver, the lack of cushion matters clearly. So don't obsess over the rate, the headline rate, without understanding the terms that come behind it. Because a mortgage is just not a price, it's not just a rate, it's a contract. A slightly lower rate can come with restrictions, penalties, or less flexibility if you need to refinance, sell early, or make changes down the road. So how do you avoid this? You got to treat your down payment as a strategy, not just a hurdle. The more cushion you build, the more options you will have down the road. And then when you compare mortgage products, compare them based on flexibility, penalties, how they fit your life, not just the lowest advertised number. And then ask what happens if you break the mortgage early. Ask what happens if when you renew your mortgage, and then ask what happens if your plans change, because the right mortgage should help you own the home, not trap you in it. And this is the full article. Some really good tips. It's really brief. I went into much more detail, which is hopefully helpful. Really common home buyer mistakes. The big takeaway here is first home does not need to be perfect. It needs to be affordable, understandable, and sellable down the road. And that's what gives you real foundation in a market like Vancouver. You don't want to get caught up in the hype. You don't want to panic. You don't want to rush. Not the pretty decorations. You got to make smart decisions so you can set yourself up down the road. Again, this is your first home. It should be a stepping stone, a strategic move to set you and your family up in the future. So if you have questions about first-time home buying, leave them in the comments down below. I've got a calendar link in my description if you want to book a call with me. I've got an awesome first-time home buyer package that I love to give out. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.